It's looking a little laggy, huh?
It is laggy.
Well, that's the whole reason for testing it.
Yeah, you got a lot going on in that video.
I rendered it out in 1082, so I should definitely lower that. And this is, again, this giant chunk of different clips of video is specifically to see which ones are going to jack it up and which ones are going to run smoothers. I just wanted to fill it with as much stuff as I could.
That delay time is actually not bad at all, though. Even though there's a lag.
They should be hearing us now. Can you hear us, Danny?
They can. Yeah, they can hear us.
Yeah, all right, cool. All right. Should be good to go.
My bandwidth does not like this at all.
Yeah, is it still on there? Hasn't caught up yet?
It may not be your bandwidth to watch just because the stream itself was lagging.
You know, it's probably mine. I'm on Comcast Wi-Fi here at the house, and it's not the strongest.
Well, and I'm still getting the spinning wheels.
Oh, you're getting an actual wheel.
Yeah. But the chat is working nicely.
Yeah, see, the chat's working good. Danny's saying that we're echoing.
I have a wheel too now.
I thought my mic was echoing before. So, Eric, tell me why that could be. Where should I start troubleshooting now?
I don't know. It should be able to do its isolation perfectly fine.
Well, let's see. Is it echoing now? Hi, Nash. Danny, do you hear it echo? You guys hear it echoing at all?
Actually, do you have the audio from the Hangout going in the back? I mean, the audio from the stream in the background?
No, all my audio outside of my headphones is off. And I just turned down the desktop audio that was supposed to be bleeding through. Let me try the opposite. Hold on. Well, so is it only me that's echoing? See, I can hear myself echoing in my own headphones.
Is it too oversensitive?
Maybe. Hold on. All right, how's that? Is that any better? I don't hear any echo anymore.
I haven't heard anything at all.
Neither have I.
All right. You guys in the chat, does that sound any better? No, see, I hear it now again.
Yeah, so that's definitely on your end then.
How could I be echoing? Let's find out.
You sure don't got a YouTube stream in the background going?
No, there's nothing coming out of my screen. I have it muted. I have the dashboard's muted. I don't have a watch page other than the dashboard. Echo seems gone now, Jen's saying. Eric was echoing too. All right, seems like it's gone now for the most part. Well, Eric, watchers, thanks for hanging with me.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate it. We can hang out here for a little bit. So we've got the Hangout working. So that'll be good. I still plan on going live tomorrow night at 9.
Question: have any of you actually saw the link to download the files?
I have. They keep popping up. If you go to just to catch everybody up uh, before we went live, we were talking about the WikiLeaks release this morning, and different thoughts and views about it. I think collectively between the three of us that are in this hangout right now, we've done all of maybe an hour's total research between the three of us today. So definitely more stuff needs to be read, but that doesn't mean that we don't have an opinion on it. So that's kind of where we're at. So you guys see anything that stood out to you today?
Well, I mean, one thing that I could probably say, and we were talking about this before the show actually went live, was the amount of personal damage that this release can cause, not only governmental damage or national damage to the United States or other nations, but from what I'm getting from this release is it's more invasive than anything that came out of Snowden. And I was telling the other guys that it was the stuff that came out of Snowden was more like here's what we're doing. Where this is here's what we're doing. Oh, and by the way, this is how we're doing it. So not only do people know what capabilities are, which in my opinion, the Snowden stuff could very well have just been a kind of hey, this is what we have the capabilities of. This is what we have the capabilities of, and oh, by the way, now everybody in the world has these capabilities. So my concern is not really for state actors infringing on personal privacy. My fear is more so private actors infringing on personal privacy. So now your girlfriend no longer has to snatch your phone out of your hand to know who you're texting. If she has the wit, can now use these tools that were released to the world to see who you're texting.
In real time.
By compromising your device, or at least until because there was so many 0 days that came out of this, and those things they take time to find the coding loopholes and then patch those loopholes. That I mean, this could be extremely dangerous. I mean, shit, your sorry for my language, but your neighbor can now listen in on your conversations that you're having in your living room via your smart TV. I mean, to me, it's terrifying because now it gave the people that are not the most rational of people the ability to do this stuff, and not the most vetted people the ability to do this stuff.
And gave them step-by-step details in certain cases.
Exactly.
Step.
And that's one of the things that's bothering me a lot about this one is not that this stuff is possible, because I mean, everybody here deep down knew that this stuff was possible. I mean, you had to be extremely naive to think that it wasn't possible.
That you know what
And
that's funny. I approached a couple of people about that today with exactly saying the same thing, and with that thought in my mind, and I knew as soon as I saw the release this morning that people were going to take the attitude of, well, we already knew this already, and it kind of takes away from the whole yeah, we knew about it already, but it was always an assumption, and now it's a reality, and it takes away from in some ways, I think, from the impact of how much of a reality it really is.
true.
Just because there was
So
this already, preconceived notion that they're doing it anyway. As soon as smart refrigerators came out, most of the people I heard was, "Oh, great! Now they're going to know how much food is in my fridge too." You know,
right.
it's an already accepted, even without this much proof.
Well, the thing that I'm more concerned about is now like you used the term "they" just now when talking about the refrigerator. Now, and this was always a term that I always had kind of an issue with is the term "they" because it wasn't it was a very vague term. They could be anything that you wanted to portray they to be, or anything that the listener wanted to portray in their own mind who they were.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in all actuality, anybody can be they, at least until patches come out to fix all of this stuff. Which I guarantee you everybody's in a mad dash right now to fix it.
Yeah. So I seem to have personally missed some of the details that you guys are talking about. Can you fill me in on what exactly you mean by step-by-step instructions for certain apps? I guess I just haven't gotten to that part of the research yet. It's been a busy day, so.
For an example, for like how I was talking about Flame Skimmer earlier, it's a tool that they use to skim information off of devices. There's step-by-step information out there on how to insert it into an application. The person download the application, and then on how to have it transfer all of that information to you.
Hmm. Now, were these so are these actual programs part of this release, or are they available on the App Store? Or how do you get?
You don't just get things like the stuff on the App Store. You can get
But I mean, is it
the
something that you
compromised
go?
application
Yeah.
on things like the App Store, but not the program itself.
So then,
Well,
how are we at risk of somebody doing this to us now in light of the release? How is the release tied into now anybody can do it? What's the connection?
Because now all people have to do is just find the program that they would use to insert the things like Flame Skimmer into an application.
Sure. So you could find like the APK file for an Android device is probably simply by searching it in Google, right?
Well, it wouldn't be an APK file. You'd be editing an APK file.
Yeah. Okay.
On a computer, you insert this thing like Flame Skimmer, and then you take this new APK that you just edited, put it on the victim's phone, either by if it was a boyfriend girlfriend relationship, you just simply get your significant other's phone and install the APK. Or what some people do is they hide it well enough so the security features inside of the Google Play Store don't pick it up. And then when the victim installs the application, now it's on the device. And the reason why I'm just saying Flame Skimmer instead of all the rest of them is because Flame Skimmer is a very popular one that's been used. It's very common.
Hmm.
How's it going, Kriegs?
Hey, what's up, Kriegs? Uh-oh.
Come on, Eric. We don't hear you, buddy. He's working it. He's trying to get it.
And I also don't want to get too. I don't want to get too in depth about it, because personally I don't like this one. This one is extremely invasive on a personal level. That but I mean, even like what Eric was saying about like the applications. I mean, some of the stuff, some of the things that I came across in news articles were screenshots of JavaScript that would be running on a website, whatever website that you want, that's embedded in the website that you can't even see, because it's what makes up the page itself. It's what the web page actually is, so that whenever you access it with your phone, it now corrupts your phone, and now everything that your phone is putting out or everything that your tablet is putting out is being intercepted.
Right.
I mean, you can. I mean, and what I'm ultimately saying is anybody can take that JavaScript if they know how to make web pages.
Right.
Anybody can now take that JavaScript from that screenshot or from this information. They could download the torrent that has all of this information, and incorporate that stuff into their web pages, so that now they no longer need to see the advertising cookie files to see what your interests are, so that they could direct advertise for you. They don't need to ask for that permission.
Exactly, and that falls into like the program Salamander that they use. Salamander does the same exact thing with the Java inside of the web pages, and it specifically targets like the Chrome application, because Chrome is just on every Android phone. And when it's on there, you already know most people, when they are on their web browser, they just swipe it closed. But when you swipe it closed, all of those tabs are still open in the background. And things like Salamander allows whoever implanted onto their website to get remote access into your device, because you didn't close the tab inside of the Chrome that you thought you closed.
So now, what's so the basic gist of it then? Well, I know it's a lot. You can't chunk it all up in a basic gist, but are they saying that these are CIA made apps or programs? Like they're all created by the CIA?
No, they're not all made by them.
But they're
There's a good
utilized
amount of
by
them. Yes, that's pretty much essentially what this whole thing is talking about.
Okay.
There's a lot of them that's been out for years that have been public. It's just something you don't find just on like Google.com.
Right. Well,
like you actually got to search
you hire
for it.
hackers to hunt for hackers. Hackers are going to do hacker things in order to hunt for hackers, or be CIA hired hackers. So that part of it kind of makes sense. But I'm curious what they developed specifically. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, to an extent, this is going back to some knowledge that I came across coming up through school, through like high school and my education career. Is typically when somebody gets in trouble for doing something hacking wise, for lack of a better term, they're charged, but then they're contacted by the people that are pressing charges against them and say, hey, you can either serve your punishment, which you're going to get based on the evidence that we've provided, or we can drop the charges and you can sign this contract to work with us or to sell us this process that you developed, and come and work for us for the next 10 years. We'll pay you handsomely for it.
Yeah.
And people will take the deal.
Yeah. And yeah, you would be surprised how many people would actually take that deal.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know anybody that I don't think there's anybody that wouldn't take that deal, unless they just had really, really, really strong ethics to not go against the whatever oath that they took. But I mean, so ultimately what I'm saying is a lot of the stuff that I think that may be thought of as CIA developed was not actually CIA developed. It was just CIA purchased, or stolen, or what have you, whatever.
Depending on the scenario.
Correct. I mean, I'm sure that they have a lot of genius people that work for their organization. I mean, I know the what was it? Cicada. I think it was Cicada. Was, if memory serves me correctly, I can't remember if it was the crypto wing of the CIA or the crypto wing of the NSA, but it was basically Cicada was a giant scavenger hunt, a crypto scavenger hunt recruiting program. That if you can get through all of these different steps, the final step was basically an offer letter. And it was some crazy shit that was really, really difficult to actually get through, and not very, very many people were able to actually get through it. I mean, so ultimately what I'm saying is that there's select few people that have the capabilities of developing this kind of stuff, and now that it's developed and the processes have been, and Pandora's box has been opened up to the masses, it seems like it could be some potentially dangerous times ahead for personal privacy.
And I think that's why it's called Year Zero.
Yeah, it's some nerve-wracking stuff, and from a security standpoint, it's not good.
The first thing that got me when I first heard about Vault 7 was, why is it called Year Zero? But then when I was going through all of the stuff, I'm just like, they're giving step by steps. Year Zero must mean the fact of this is the year of when everybody starts to get the understanding of it, of like how the programs work and everything like that. I really see in the near future that there is going to be these attacks on personal security well more than ever before.
Well, there's a vulnerability for people over a certain age that are that they've been falling victim for years to things like certain types of internet scams. You know, I sit across the desk from different people every day and I hold training classes biweekly on Sundays for both Apple and Android for mostly would end up being, you know, 50 plus in age. And the learning curve is so significant that the putting information like this into the hands of some malicious, you know, millennials or you know, just people that understand technology, it could be. I mean, again, it's a nerve-wracking security risk for certain demographics, and they need to watch out. You know, during these training classes, I try to cover things like the last thing that you want to do on an Android device is download some type of free security software. You know, almost every, unless you paid for it or unless it's a reputable one, you know, you don't want to do it. Almost everyone that I've seen frees up a Samsung before you can blink your eyes. I mean, you know, the pop-ups are incredible, and they just don't get it. It's a very small percentage of that demographic that thinks to even check the star review when they're downloading an app, or how many good or bad reviews that they have to determine whether it's an app they should even download. They just think security, type in security, and grab the first one with the coolest looking icon, and that's how they're getting their apps.
And even still with that, another big one that most people don't even realize are weather applications and themes for your phone.
Yeah. You only need a handful of certain things if you're trying to follow certain things. You don't need the XYZ weather app when the Weather Channel app is perfectly good enough. You know what I mean? You need a radar, it's there. Now, if you're doing research and you're in on that type of stuff, there may be a few, you know, a few certain apps you want to go for, but it's going to be recommended by somebody that knows what they're doing. It's like the people that download MP3 files that don't understand what, you know, what a kilobyte, a megabyte, and a gigabyte is. You know, if you download a 3-minute song and it says that it's 40 kilobytes in size, that's a problem. If you download a 3-minute song and it's 3,500 kilobytes or 300 or 3.5 megabytes, then you're in good shape. I mean, and how many people actually know that? You know, it's just another. The game's about to change with the amount of information that's out there right now on vulnerability and security. We all know people that like their security.
I used to have to
Nothing
deal
wrong
with that. I used to have to deal with that crap every single day at my old job. With the whole, well, not I'm speaking on behalf of the people that will be coming in to get their stuff fixed to do that. I was going through different stuff, searching for maybe an antivirus or a theme for my computer or something, or even a wallpaper. And I clicked it, I downloaded it, and then after I downloaded it, my computer stopped working. Like, there's apparently a good amount of websites. I even got shown a few of them where it'll say free wallpapers, but then I'm sure you guys know how small an image file is. But these images would be about 50 megabytes. I don't know any photo, no matter how good quality it is, that'll be 50 megabytes.
Yeah, I mean, you can blow it up the size of the Empire State Building.
Exactly.
I mean, to be a bit of a naysayer in that. I mean, I've actually seen some actual meme JPEGs that, although they may have started out as a 15 kilobyte file, eventually, as they've made their ways around that 15 kilobyte file because it's been copied and pasted and downloaded and it all of those bits of data from every. I mean, it basically logs every.
Yep.
Yeah, every machine that it's gone through, so that when it finally makes its rounds to you, that JPEG is now a 50 kilobyte file, or a meg, or a meg and a half, just because it's got all of that metadata attached to it for everybody that downloaded it or.
I think, Eric, did you say 50 megabytes though? Is that
Yeah,
what
50
you said?
megabytes.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a bit. Yeah, that's a bit excessive. I mean, especially if it says download wallpaper and the file extension is .exe.
Yeah, and how many people are actually going to notice it? Like that's the kicker. Like downloading the 40 kilobyte MP3 file that's supposed to be 3 minutes long. That'll never play when you double click on it. You know what I mean? Like
the biggest photo file I've ever saw that was like an actual photo. Like if I see it's over a certain size, it's just like whatever. The biggest I ever saw was in Ultra 4K. It was at 24 megabytes. I think it was like 24.8 megabytes. But that file was so massive that it was used for like a movie theater style type of screen,
or like a billboard or something.
Yeah.
Which was one of the things that I never understood about the. You remember there was a phase with digital cameras where the digital cameras, and we're kind of going off on a tangent that always bugs me. There's like whenever they came out with the cameras that were like 16 megapixels. Well, I mean, first off, your computer screen can't even view in its normal size on the screen itself a 16 megapixel image. When you look at the pixel per pixel count of a 16 megapixel image, it's enormous. I mean, like if you do like a full 100% view instead of like a fit to screen, it's like going way beyond the edges of your screen. And so it made no sense to me why companies were making these cameras that were so high resolution for consumer grade consumption.
It's funny
that trend hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't gone anywhere.
It's funny that you mentioned that too, because it's like the fact that most monitors can't even handle it. So when you're zoomed in at that level, it looks completely blurry because the computer and the monitor cannot process it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the cell phones have taken the same mentality too. Motorola Droid Turbo 2 is a 22 megapixel camera. The new Moto Zs. There's 3 different models. One of them is a 12, one of them is a 16, and one of them is a 20. I mean, it's overkill.
It is, and like I've got the LG G5. It's got I think it's got 2 16 megapixel cameras in the background. I mean, in the back of the thing.
Right.
Like on the mobile screen, when I'm zooming in, everything is crisp. But when you put it on an actual computer monitor, like I've got really good monitors, but it can't process it nowhere near as good as the phone screen can do.
Right.
So if you're not viewing it on the phone screen, like the phone it was designed for, you're not going to see it the way on how it was intended.
Well, I mean, and technically the human eye can't see beyond 7 megapixels anyway. So anything above 7 megapixels serves no purpose unless you're an actual photographer or somebody who does photography for a hobby. and you like this is the only hypothetical scenario that I could think about having an extremely high megapixel camera with a high resolution capture rate is if I am taking a picture, but then when I get that file, I want to be able to zoom in on this small little tiny section of it and then have that be the subject of my photograph. So I'm basically cropping out the rest of the file around it and then capturing still in a decent resolution this small little tiny portion of it. I mean, other than that, it really serves no purpose to have a camera that can. I mean, if you're just doing freaking selfies and snapping pictures and not doing any kind of like video or photo editing or anything like that, it really serves no purpose to have a camera that can shoot in the high of a resolution. It always confused me. But it's one of those things in the consumer age, you always have to have the biggest and best, and it's not because you need it, it's because you want to make all of your friends think that you're the best.
Yeah, and like on my phone, whenever I take there's different settings on how high the quality. If I do it at like the highest quality that it can do, like I don't know if you've ever heard about LG G5's camera, but it's an amazing camera. But if I take a photo and try to upload it to Facebook,
It is a test. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying out different stuff. I see Nash said 1.21 gigawatts. I guess he was a little confused with our megabyte and kilobyte talk. So I'm just taking these little opportunities to test out. Continue, Eric. I apologize.
Yeah, like if I take the photo, the really high quality photo, and put it to Facebook, Facebook won't even process it properly the way on how the file actually is. It's like it can look extremely good on the phone, but the second it goes into something like Facebook, it's not even going to come out the same exact way because it can't even process it properly.
Yeah, it'll end up compressing the file size down to the limits of what Facebook's maximum file size are, and by that point, you're better off just taking, if you're planning on posting it on Facebook, or if you're planning on just utilizing it on social media, you might as well just take the file or take the picture in Facebook's format, so that you're not wasting a whole bunch of storage space on your phone. I mean, especially if you're not going to be doing any editing stuff. And we definitely diverted away from the whole Vault 7 thing.
We sure enough did. Apologies at everybody.
Because people nowadays takes 6,000 pictures and only remembers 3.
He speaks.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hi, Kriegs. I
Yes, we can hear you.
now.
Okay, because I don't know. I thought that you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, at first, when you said hi at the very beginning, we couldn't hear you.
Okay,
We can
great.
hear you now.
We can hear you now. Good.
Don't get into the whole Verizon thing.
No, please don't. Oh my God.
No, I think it's I don't know. I had to tweak my microphone.
You had to twerk with your microphone? What?
Twerk. No, I said tweet.
He was twerking.
Kriegs, you just had me doing it. Now I have to send you a GIF.
Oh no. GIF attack.
GIF attack.
Or is it GIF?
Ooh, that's one. Yeah, it is GIF, and you know what? I've said GIF since the freaking early 2000s, 90s, whenever.
Well, since the internet was invented.
Yeah, since the internet was invented, and then my smart ass 18 and 19-year-old, or 17 and 18-year-old kids it's not GIF, it's GIF, and just from over and over again. I'm so tired of hearing them say it that I just switched it so I didn't have to hear it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a gigawatt used to be called a gigawatt.
Is that the?
Well, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, they're the same thing. It's just two different pronunciations.
Kriegs, check your Twitter.
Huh.
Right. Canada, Canada, same stuff.
Great.
Whoa.
North, frozen north.
The
Oh, wow.
frozen north.
Oh, if you guys saw that GIF I just sent to Kriegs, oh my goodness.
Send it to me.
If I can find it again, yeah, I'll send it to both of you guys.
Is it somebody twerking on a microphone?
No.
No.
Damn
It's
it. Why not?
more disturbing than that.
More disturbing.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Did I find that again?
And I don't know.
Well,
Oh, somebody's having fun. I mean, in this GIF.
Where the heck?
Pretty
Where did I
funny.
get it? There it is.
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start
Mike
calling my
and
son. I'm going to start calling his girlfriend his girlfriend. And
Girlfriend.
and see how long
yes.
it takes to piss him off. That's what we should do. We should revolt against the misplaced J's and
I
T's,
think
you know?
that's my opinion.
I just sent it to you guys.
You can call me on my cell phone.
Don't, I hear that so often at work now. Like I've heard, like they play music on my job. Saturday alone, I heard it at least 15 times, and every time I heard that song, I thought of Trump dancing.
Yep.
Oh God.
Do it.
Share that.
Is it Dora the Explorer?
Yes.
Yeah, doing a somehow low twerk, and Barney loving it.
Working it. Work.
Uh,
I think the flailing arm tube man is my favorite.
Waving inflatable arm flailing tube man. Intergalactic proton powered electrical tentacled advertising droid. You guys see that?
That was Family Guy, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Guess how many times
Wow.
I've seen that?
from which season?
Hi, I'm Al Harrington from Al Harrington's Wacky Waving Inflatable Arm Flailing Tube Band Moonbase, Intergalactic Proton Powered Electrical Tentacled Advertising Droid Moonbase and Emporium. I'm currently overstocked on Intergalactic Proton
probably
Powered
run by-
Electrical Tentacled Advertising Droids.
Okay.
It's nuts, dude. That stuff's great. Great.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
the
genius.
Barney Dora twerk was pretty cool, Eric. Thank you.
Flailing arm tube man, I definitely that could be something that is actually achievable.
Flailing arm.
Yeah, check your Twitter.
I just need to find. Ooh, tax season is coming to a close.
Yeah, I got a picture of the Verizon one from in front of the store bent over like that. I wish it was a freaking GIF. I wish it was, dude. There's one of these where some dude runs up to it and starts
Humping it?
grinding on it. Yeah.
How did I know that?
Good question, Kriegs. Really good question.
Was it you, Kriegs?
Yeah, I had a long road ahead. I probably took the plane. No, remember I was drunk.
That's good.
Uh,
Oh, B's in the
Um,
chat. What's up, B? Video quality's nice. Good. Thank you, B.
Who?
I appreciate that, man. If you're send you the link too. Eric, can you send B a link just in case I'm not sure if he's working or not, but just in case he's got a minute, he can jump in and say hi.
He's slacking.
Who
Slacking.
giggled snort?
what
Google
kind of slack?
Spargan.
But
I didn't hear anybody giggle snort.
giggle snork like.
Goggles barking. Yeah, this is a goofy night, guys. But there's like zero rhyme or reason to this at all. This is just let's see how many little different testing things I can come up with,
Yeah, how ridiculous it can be.
and that's okay. That's quite all right. So WikiLeaks Twitter page.
Yeah, you were talking about WikiLeaks. Yeah, I was trying to explain stuff, but it seems like nobody hurt me. Yeah, yeah. These leaks, I've never been deep inside it. I've heard some stuff, and to me, it seems like it could lead to a massive paranoia. Uh, um, uh, you know, feeling that that could disrupt and like the harmony. I mean, uh, with everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
Because now that people know what they know now, how can they trust anyone from now on?
Absolutely. I mean, it basically is turning it into. I can definitely understand that concept. I mean, not even being able to trust your neighbor, type of thing. I mean, like it. Absolutely. I didn't even really think about it that way.
Yeah.
One thing that really gets me with this whole thing too is I'm going through the files right now. They have gifts inside of the vaults.
Gifts.
They have a bunch of gifts inside the vault.
Well,
Which
that was
throws me
another
off.
thing. That was another thing that that I had heard about while I was eating dinner today. Was there was a treasure trove of really shitty memes that were in there, and they were actually being like people started making fun of them for the shitty memes that they had, and they really needed to get a little bit better at their meme generation. Because
Wait, did I say GIF or meme?
well, you said GIF.
Well,
I meant to say meme.
Well,
yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah, well,
Mayonnaise.
121 gigawatts, whatever.
I mean, there was definitely not a single dank meme inside the entire archive.
Well, for as
But-
dankless as it may be, it will tell everybody everything about you every time you log into your computer.
But they could have at
What
least
the type of memes that you have?
But yeah, if you're going to infect my computer, at least give me a meme worth reading, right?
But do you think that with that, it's game over for spying?
No, I think this
Because
now
I
calls
think
for
it's-
I think this calls for an advancement in spying.
It's going to force
I think
people to come
so,
up with new
because-
methods.
Like a solution to a problem.
Well, and I was contemplating this towards the end of my my work day, and I know that there are going to be a lot of security patches that come out as a result of this.
Oh yeah.
My thoughts were not necessarily that the security patches were fixing anything, but that there could be a possibility that this could be encouraging people to. And I was also telling all of the guys that I work with and everybody else that I know that, hey, next time you get a security update, make sure you do it immediately. But then I started thinking about that. It's like, well, this could be triggering people to think that way, because now there are security flaws, be it whether or not they're real. You're now under the impression that there is a security flaw, so that you will update anything that comes through, which then can put in a security flaw.
And with that, I think that some of these security updates are actually placebos to make people feel better, when they can cause more problems than solving them.
For example, with that, that's actually a good point, Kriegs. I used the app Signal, the encryption app or whatever. I mainly just use it due to the fact that I can send gifts to different friends of mine that have the app as text messages. It just makes the conversation a lot more funnier. But this evening, they already had an update. Now, I don't know if it was a scheduled update or if it was like a quote-unquote emergency update because of the information that was released, and Signal's name was mentioned inside of the vault.
And well, and there's some programs inside of these files that were out there for decades.
Oh yeah, there's so much stuff in here that is common stuff. Just the average person doesn't know it. But now they could. Or do, depending.
We woke up John. His notifications have probably his phone's probably been vibrating off of his nightstand for the past hour. That's funny. Sorry, John. Yeah, this is fun, kind of doing a middle of the night test. You know.
Well, yeah, and it's the time that I'm like, because I work at night and most of people are asleep at that time, and I'm real glad to jump in to, say my opinion about the current subjects that are being discussed in this panel.
Much appreciated. I didn't even have a plan going into this. Wasn't even sure if I had anybody that was going to help me do this test stream all the way up until like 11:15 tonight. So 12 o'clock.
Seems like it's working.
It's working good. I started it out with an intro. I wanted to test a couple of different clips of video with text over top, and I rendered it out of my editing suite at 1080 in HD, and then loaded it into the streaming software, and it was really, really choppy when it came across. So, I wanted to see if any of the video would run smooth based on it having less in it, but being, maybe 15, 20 different clips of video edited together, just different backgrounds, and it was so layered that it just didn't work. So, that's not the intention for the, any other type of intro or outro or anything that I do, but it was definitely overkill, and that was intentional. Shouts out to Danny, who wrote a clip of music for me to put behind it, so I had a piece of custom music, and it's metal all the way. So that's
metal all the way.
Can I make a very quick mention before I forget? And it's going to be very, very, very off topic.
Go ahead.
If anybody has T-Mobile, if anybody has T-Mobile, you have about an hour and a half left where you can get your free month subscription to Slacker Radio.
That's
just
it.
to let you know.
All right.
Everybody likes free music, so.
Yeah.
And also, if anybody that might have T-Mobile, you do have the possibility, if you have the T-Mobile Tuesday app, to get a whole year subscription of it. And this is not a sponsorship for T-Mobile. I'm just saying this just so people. Slacker Radio is $12 a month. I like free stuff.
Erick is
sarcasm, and
Erick is like in this moment realizing what he's saying and who's on the call right now. It's all good. It's all good, Erick. I totally agree.
Hey, you already know I wanted to switch to Verizon.
No, it's all good, man. Listen, there's good
I just
in
can't
every
at the
product.
moment.
There's good in every product, and if you have an opportunity to get a free something, no matter who you're with, go for it, man. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the only reason why I'm talking about it. Because
I know. I just gotta bust your stones. Music. That won't happen too often. So.
Since I know we just went off topic again, but since we're on the topic with cellular networks, did you see, Mike, how Sprint has that 5 phones for $90 now?
I did.
How is that possible?
Well, now Boost Mobile, I just saw the advertisement. It was on a truck here in Cleveland, where Boost Mobile has it where you can get 4 phones for $80, unlimited data.
Are you talking about hard phones like Nokia and stuff?
No, smartphones.
Smartphones.
It's all in the numbers, and it's all in the fine print. So when you start realizing. When you start, realizing that doesn't include either the line access fee or the cost of the phone per month, and you start doing all the math, it all ends up coming in within a handful of dollars of each other. These guys are. I've never worked in an industry where people are so tricky about the words that they use and so strategic about their plans. that once you go over all the fine print for all four major carriers and sit down and put them side by side, they all work out to be within a couple of dollars of each other each month. Really, with these guys, what it boils down to is, the location of towers to your house. Now, listen, in the past month, it's gotten a little bit crazy. People might be doing a few different things to really separate themselves from the pack, but eventually it's going to level back out, and the unlimited war will be over, and they'll move on to their next battle, and everything will level out and be within a couple dollars of each other again. So
now, even with that, like I sent you that thing the other day. I don't know if I shared it with everybody else, but there's talks between T-Mobile and Sprint in a possible merger. And there's also talks between Sprint and Comcast on a possible merger.
Yeah.
Now, if either one of those scenarios will play out, that would make the mobile network industry a heck of a lot smaller.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be the trending thing to do in the mobile industry to buy up a home services company. Verizon with their FiOS, and then AT&T picking up DirecTV, and now if T-Mobile or Sprint pick up Comcast, it's the next thing to do. In addition to that,
no,
Verizon,
Comcast buying Sprint. Comcast buying Sprint.
Okay, so then it'll ultimately in the end be the same thing, but one company is going to acquire the other. That is actually a little bit of a plot twist. Does that mean that instead of DirecTV becoming part of AT&T, actually Sprint will become part of Comcast, and they could potentially change the name of the company? I doubt they would do that, but they could.
I doubt they would, because Comcast is owned by NBC. Well, Comcast owned NBC Universal,
Yeah,
which also owns Black and Decker. They're all kind of the same one company. It's hard to explain that part, but yeah, nobody can buy out that company, and they're just going to try to absorb as much as possible. And that's just going to, like, where I was trying to go with it. I think it's going to end up being to where there's only going to be two companies, two choices. Where
it always ends with two, because if you have no competitors, then having a business would have no purpose but to maintain control.
Exactly. And like, for example, people think that the mobile industry has so many competitors right now, like Cricket, Metro PCS, Boost Mobile, all of that stuff. No. Metro PCS owned by T-Mobile, Boost Mobile owned by Sprint, Cricket owned by AT&T or Sprint. I forget that one, Mike.
I'm not sure. Verizon owns,
I believe it's AT&T.
What's the international carrier, the real big one in Europe? I forget what they're called. Shoot, what's their name?
There's a lot of them.
Huge. No, but there's one. It's the one. It's the big one. It's all over Europe. It's the international company. There's one big one. I'm trying to remember its name. But anyway, Verizon owns that. That's like the international Verizon, just under a different name.
Yeah, and one of the biggest ones in Canada, Rogers Telecommunications, is owned by AT&T.
You are correct.
So yeah, that's kind of where it all falls down, where all of these companies are all pretty much the same, where it only leaves to, right now, only 5 big companies in the world. The only other one that's not owned by the major 4 is one of the big ones down in South America. And I think it's just going to keep getting smaller.
And I don't know the name of the company. I think it's Telnex or Telcel.
Telnet. Telnet? Yeah, Telnet.
I'm talking about a huge cell phone. Cell phone company in Mexico.
Yeah, Telnet. Warren Buffett.
Telnet?
I think it is Telnet. Warren Buffett owns a very large amount of shares inside of it, which is why he's got so much money.
Yeah,
other than the oil industry.
It is. Yeah, it's owned by one of the most wealthiest men in the world. And I saw one of his houses when I was there. was a palace.
Well, one
And
of Warren Buffett's houses.
No.
you're talking about that other guy, that Hispanic guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't remember his name. But Telnet, believe it or not, a lot of the quote unquote Obama phones, the government issued phones,
that's who
those
they're through.
they're Telnet. But Telnet inside the United States, for service purposes, works with all of the major companies. Which is why if you ever see anybody that may have one of those government quote unquote Obama phones, they get service everywhere because they're getting network from all of the major companies.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be anywhere to get service.
And is it strictly Blackberries?
No, not Blackberries.
All right.
Oh no, they are really crappy phones. Really, really crappy phones.
You know what I am going to
Well-
keep my eye on, though? I am going to keep my eye on this, in light of this this release today. I am going to keep my eye on the numbers of basic flip phones. Um, I want to see if those numbers increase. Yeah, yeah.
You're talking about the use of flip phones?
Yeah, sure. There's a part of me that at this
What?
point wants to have at least not maybe specifically my primary phone, but what I make my calls, that what I talk on and what I text on, that private personal conversation, I may now want to separate from a smart device as best as I can. I know that there are still ways, but to eliminate that large chunk of potential malware and spyware,
Want to know what's crazy?
for that type of monitoring.
Well,
Whatchamacallit just released? Nokia just released that phone. The odds of that are insane.
yeah.
You don't know what I'm talking about, right? The Nokia Three-
Yeah.
3010 or something like that. 3310.
Yeah, I've seen these. It's 3 different phones, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they're non-smartphones. Like
Nope.
they still have like you can get like 2G internet service on it, but they're not smartphones. And the timing of they just came out last week is just insane.
Yeah, I'm thinking, just for that talk and text communication. Now, see, damn it, I'm not going back to alphanumeric texting, but I would go to a slide phone possibly.
Well, I think it would be smart to have a flip phone wherever you go.
Sure, and well, I do, and I've sent a bunch of them to people, that are close. Um, nothing wrong with backup devices, and nothing wrong with a device that's limited to an older network, like an iPhone 4 that's limited to a 3G tower and cannot connect to a 4G tower.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, so having different older devices at your disposal can be key in certain situations. Um, I try to push that out there as much as I can. I mean, to have those devices are they can help you out in a bad situation if you need it.
Also, that ended up with the thing with the cells. US Cellular, if anybody's wondering about them, they are a really big company, but they're not in the major 4. They are just usually they're pretty much exclusively to the Midwest and the southeast of the United States. Other than that, they're not really around. I just have to confirm that right now.
I'm gonna be popping a couple of just like background videos in place of my screen share, just to just background videos, but just one with nothing overlaid on top of it, just to see if it comes through nice and smooth. So
All right.
you see me doing that, making changes like that, just let me know how they look. That's all.
All right.
Wow, this is crazy. I'm actually looking at US Cellular's service map right now.
I get their phones sometimes. They they come through. Very rare though. I don't think many people have U.S. Cellular.
It's I can't say it's small because it's really popular in places like West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, and all of those places.
Mm-hmm.
But to the rest of the country, they just have roaming. So they still get service, but it's not U.S. Cellular service.
Right.
And is it covering the entire United States?
Their roaming service, yes. Their actual service, no.
Okay.
And if you're on roaming, you already know you get heavily throttled and all of that stuff. So
I've never heard of that company before.
it's how many people do they have?
Um,
I'm trying to look for that exact number right now. They only serve 4.9 million people.
okay.
Listen, I'm gonna
4.9.
I'm gonna start this clip of video. I believe this clip of video has audio, and I'm curious whether playing this clip of video, the audio is going to go through to where everybody can hear it outside of this hangout. So.
The samurai were the heroes of ancient Japan. Still today, their legend continues.
No.
The samurai sword is one of the greatest fighting weapons of all time, perfectly engineered for close-up combat, renowned for its deadly cutting edge. Modern science can now reveal the technical excellence of this ancient craft.
What are you playing?
It is certainly
it's a samurai documentary.
absolute beauty from both
I was going to say that's what it looks like.
Yeah, so they go through the process of checking.
But can it explain the mystery of
how? All right, I'll fade back out of that. So, yeah, I mean, definitely can have a documentary night. Do like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing, 2000 thing, where we provide commentary. But Eric, that's where trying to feed the audio through the Hangout is going to be like key for that. Audio is crisp. Okay, good. Monks on Motorbikes. I love that name. It's awesome. All right, good. They can hear it. Looking good. Audio's crisp. Sweet. I'm glad. And the stream health has been thumbs up, solid green this entire time.
Is this your first one?
This is the official test. I tomorrow at 9:00. Gonna do
tomorrow. You mean
or later
today?
Yeah, tonight at 9 p.m. Yep, that's the official first show. So I'll be trying to connect with people throughout the day. I'm off all day today, so I have a few little last minute edits to do. Now that I know
that's awesome.
the level of simple that I need to keep it as far as intro is concerned and things like that. So a few more edits and 9 p.m. tomorrow. Yep, Eastern time.
9 p.m.
I'm gonna send over this.
I will not be able to attend
tomorrow. You said 9 p.m.
Yeah, Wednesday at 9 is going to be the normal show, but that's that doesn't mean that I'm not going to feel like having these hangouts on a regular basis because I think they're pretty cool. Like, if I'm still up and up for it after a scheduled show during the week, that's just my scheduled show time. But we could go live whenever, just like you guys do.
Yeah, Mike, I just put a link inside the slide chat for you that I guess could help you for work. It lists all of the under companies, under cellular companies, and who owns them.
Okay.
And there's only a few that owns all of these companies.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, that's the main four, the ones that owns all of them.
Armed Forces Wireless. That's freaking awesome.
Oh yeah, that they actually get it for very cheap.
Consumer Cellular. They advertise for that on TV. Cricket Wireless. That's out here in Philly. Family Talk.
I don't see any of these companies that are in service in Canada.
Canada is weird with things like cellular service. Like, you guys are the most expensive in the world.
I guess. I see. There's Telcel America, which is owned by Sprint and T-Mobile.
It's crazy because I've been going through a couple of these guys' websites, and their prices are insane. Like right now, I'm Equal Mobile. For 8 gigs of data is $60 a month. But you can go to somewhere like...
What happens when you hit 7.99? What type of throttling do they do?
Good question. But you can go to things like Metro PCS and get completely unlimited for $50 a month.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of these are targeted to certain locations.
Yeah, but is completely unlimited? Like,
no, it's not completely unlimited.
Right,
you get
they'll
run at that number that you get.
Yeah, but they'll even if you can go beyond it, either they'll throttle it or they'll force you to have to stream it at a lower resolution or something. There's some kind of kink.
Yeah, the only truly unlimited was that, I guess Watchers just dropped out. I guess the only truly unlimited I've ever saw was by 2 companies. By Simple Mobile, which I used to have before, where I used to stream like 80, 90 gigs back when I didn't have home internet. Well, hotspot 80, 90 gigs, and it was completely unlimited. And the only other company I saw was Verizon with their original unlimited data plan, which they kind of kicked everybody off of.
HIJKLMNO. Nope, Obama phone didn't make the list. Shit. Well, is what it is.
AT&T.
This actually makes a lot of sense. Net 10 is on this list. Net 10 has service from AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon, and US Cellular, which explains on why they have some of the best service in the country. Well, they do have the best service in the country, but their plans are just horrible.
Are you talking about AT&T?
No, Net 10 Wireless.
Oh, okay.
Like right here, I'm looking at 7 gigs of data for $65 a month. That's pretty pricey. For 1 gig of data, it's $35 a month.
So we do 2 gig for 40, 5 gig for 50, and 10 gig for 70. That's prepaid. Now, that of course holds to the same rules as the 22 gig unlimited, where it doesn't throttle you at all. It's not throttling one bit. They call it prioritizing on the towers. So you may quickly drop during a busy time to a 3G speed, but once people are connected at their normal strength, because they're under 22 gig, then you boost right back up to 4G LTE speeds. So it's a temporary thing based on time of day and how many people are connected to that tower you're on.
Oh yeah. So how about earlier while I was installing this Ubuntu to my laptop, there was a Cleveland police car that was going past, and at the same moment that it was going past, I was clicking on the Wi-Fi to turn it off, and when a note popped up, Cleveland police surveillance.
Wait.
And before I
What
can
did you click on when that popped up?
I clicked on the Wi-Fi. Like I had to click on the Wi-Fi to turn off the Wi-Fi. And when I clicked on it, it showed the nearby signals that were around the nearby Wi-Fi signals, and one of
Yeah.
them was Cleveland Cleveland PD surveillance.
And I hope that your router was secured.
Well, I don't have Wi-Fi.
I don't have Wi-Fi.
No, I don't have Wi-Fi for possibly obvious reasons. But that wasn't coming from my end. That was coming from the police car. But the thing that gets me is why have a signal like that coming from the vehicle?
I wonder if that's just the standard name of their Wi-Fi in their vehicles. They have to have
But
Wi-Fi
even
for all the stuff that they have going on in those cars.
yeah, but you would think it'll be hidden. Having something like that,
Sure, and it
a
should have a
criminal
more
could
specific
possibly
name. This more specific
a,
name
cr-
per vehicle too.
a, a criminal could know like doors away that there's a police car out there just because the fact of the Wi-Fi.
It could.
Like, I don't think that's a good name at all to have. I think it should be completely hidden because you can hide Wi-Fi easily. All it is a setting inside of your router.
All right. Well, listen. We're at an hour and 20 minutes right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would call this a successful test.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I'm ready to go tomorrow. Let me see if I can set something up real quick before I end this.
Are you trying to schedule a stream?
No, I'm not trying to schedule it. I'm trying to create another scene real quick here on the fly. I don't have an outro, and I don't want to play that intro again because it's going to be so jacked up. But I do want to.
That was a long intro.
Yeah, it was a well, I mean, it was about a minute and 40, and it's gonna have like 50 seconds of standby while we let people join, and then another 50 seconds of just like a welcome intro. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the proper length, but I'm trying to. There we go. Let's see if that works.
And then I'll be right back. Have a good rest of your nights, everybody. If I come back and we're off air.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see if this works. Probably got really loud. All right. Trying to look at the audio levels here and balance it out. All right, you guys in the chat, tell me, is that a good volume for the song where you can still hear my microphone on top of it? Gain is too high. I've already turned it down. Let's see if that's better. All right, good. Thank you, Danny. So yeah,
Well,
this is what Danny.
It's
good.
Danny.
Danny wrote this. This is Danny playing.
It's his piece. Whoa.
Yeah, right.
Awesome, Danny.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Danny is a true metalhead at heart, man. The guy can shred on his 7-string, and I really appreciate taking the time to put this together for me. And yeah, man, good stuff. Good stuff. John's been waiting to hear this. He's been asking for a little snippet for the past couple of days. But, so yeah, this is what I'm going to use for the intro and the outro. It's a 3.5 minute piece. Won't use the whole thing, but I already have it sectioned out, so it's good, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So did he play like all the instruments, or?
So apparently he has a friend who's a drummer, and gave him some drum tracks. He uses them randomly when he puts different things together. They're just straight studio drum tracks. I'm assuming that he writes around, some of those clips and uses them when he's writing his own stuff. But it's great. It's good. And it's good to have a clip of music that was written specifically for you and your situation, because it doesn't mean that any kind of doesn't mean it can't get grabbed up by the software that YouTube uses to track that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it does give me a leg to stand on as far as the writer of it. It's good. It's good to have it. Appreciate it, Dana.
Yeah, it's rocking. Very good.
Yep. And on that note, I guess I'm going to go ahead and kill the stream. The handful of you, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, and we'll share the link. We'll get it out there. I'll get it out there nice and early when I start setting it up. And we'll be good to go. Yeah. Help me get people over tomorrow night. Hopefully I can get some people on the panel to chit-chat with us. We'll be in good shape. We'll figure it out. But thanks for hanging.